Hello, friends. Amy here with Book Believer channel, coming to you to do a review of a book that honestly, I've been putting off making this video for weeks. So I am reviewing The River is Waiting by Wally Lamb. I apologize that I do not have the book with me. It is a library book that I was overdue on, and I had to get it back to them. But I was so deeply moved by this book. If you have read it, I'd love to hear your experience and comments and reactions in the comments about how you felt about the various pieces of the book. Before we dive into the book, if you are like me, Gen Xer, mid-40s, lifelong reader, then you remember Wally Lamb from late 90s, early 2000s. Oprah really kind of put him on the map, but honestly, he's a profound writer, whether or not Oprah found him or not. And he wrote the two books that I read at that time. I believe they were both Oprah Book Club books. Was She's Come Undone and I Know This Much Is True. And those books, I Know This Much Is True, was such a big fat book. I remember they were so profound. And then I sort of stopped reading. There was a long period in my adult life where my focus was on a lot of other things. And I didn't read for a while, but Wally Lamb kept on trucking, it turns out. And so as I was browsing the library shelves a couple of months ago, I saw this book in the news section. Turns out Oprah picked it for one of her book club books for last year as well. And The River is Waiting is such a profound portrait of human frailty, human brokenness. There are so many themes woven through this book. It's part of why I have hesitated to even talk about it, because I don't know that I can fully do the depth and nuance of this book justice. And I, like all of my videos, I don't want to reveal any of the major plot points or give any spoilers. But the essence, the short rundown of it is that, we meet this main character named Corby at the beginning of the book. He is out of work. He's taking care of his two children full-time at home while his wife works as a teacher. He is engaging in using alcohol and drugs during the day. Something tragic happens. And the entirety of the rest of the book is the consequences of that tragedy. But I think what becomes, and so it's pretty hard to read right from the get-go. It's hard to read. I'll be honest. I read it for a handful of days, had to put it down, had to actually return it to the library, and then came back to it, rechecked it out, because I knew there was a profound story here, but it was really, really hard to stomach. Really hard. So I'm reading about this man's story. He does end up in prison for the remainder of the book, and I am dumbfounded that I'm so engrossed in a book about prison. And the entirety is basically this man's experience in prison, and I can't put it down. I then read it in another probably 10 days time frame. It was all I would do. I would read for 90 minutes to 2 hours at a time, which my poor little addled ADHD brain usually cannot read for maybe 25 pages of a book, and then I'm antsy and I gotta get up and do something else. But the story was so captivating. It moves fluidly and swiftly, and you are gripped in this person's experience of prison. You are gripped in this man's experience of prison. It makes sense that it happens the way it happens, or that it's as profound as it is, because Wally Lamb happens to be an author who has taught and worked in prisons for a good amount of years. I Googled him, and it turns out that like he has a pretty significant background in working in correctional facilities. So like he's able to take that experience and he turns it into really a beautiful tapestry of human experience. I was going to say beautiful but heartbreaking, but I think it's beautiful because it's so heartbreaking, and beautiful because it shows the complexity of the human experience. And not only the human experience, but there's also such amazing subtle, right? He's not making like big overt statements, or like he's not taking a big political stand in this book, but simply through the men's experience in this prison, he highlights racism, classism, the way we treat those that we judge less than us, the penal system and the institution of prisons, and how people get treated in prisons. It's just, it is profound on so many levels. He does such a beautiful job with Corby, who is an artist, who is more of a sensitive soul, who had a father who was not a sensitive soul, or was, but like it came out as anger and rage and blame. We have Corby juxtaposed against this really intense, harsh penal system and the hardness of criminals inside of that system, sort of like the masculine culture, or, you know, the toxicity. I'm not saying that masculine culture in and of itself is toxic, but there are elements of masculine culture that are very toxic, just like there are aspects of any culture that can be positive and negative. Feminine culture, there's, don't get me started on the toxic nature of feminine culture. Anyway, I digress. So he juxtaposes Corby's sensitivity amongst like all of these other facets of toxic masculinity. And then we have a roommate that he gets who is not toxic masculinity, is actually kind and loving and caring, a gay man who sort of thwarts all of those toxic traits that are all around Corby and all around both of them in that prison. From the guards to some of the other inmates to the white supremacists to all of the race relations and tensions that are happening. We have these two guys who are an example of a different option, a different way to be masculine, to a different way to approach one's trauma and wrongdoing, right? Like, Corby's very clear that what he did was of his own volition and an enormous mistake that he can never take back. Like, you want to almost close the book on him. I wanted to close the book on him after it happened. I was just like, this is awful. Like, really hard to read. And then you don't, because you see the depth of sorrow and attempts that he makes to be better. It's so deeply touching. And I hope that if you choose to read this book, what you come away with is a different viewpoint and perspective and possibility of approaching those that are different than us. You know, if you don't have a criminal background, if you've never been around criminals, if you've never broken the law, can you soften just even slightly in consideration of people who have and want to do better for themselves? Can you soften around your own mistakes and your own trauma? Because I think there were so many lessons in this book around people's trauma. In a larger context, can you look at some of the systemic issues in our culture and take a different perspective on them, or just allow yourself to be enlightened by what this story brings to light? This is why I love novels so very much. Like this book encapsulates everything that is profound and important and meaningful about storytelling, because Wally Lamb has managed to take something awful, make it so personal and intimate that your heart breaks. Your heart breaks for this person, and for all of these men in so many very different ways. You see their vulnerability and the trauma, and like the intergenerational trauma, the learned behaviors that happen in our society. They're all there. Like, Wally Lamb has done such a profound job of illuminating them and highlighting them, again, not on a soap stand, but in a real and true human way. It's so beautiful. He did such an amazingly beautiful job of weaving things together. Now, I will say, my only criticism of the book is that it ends quite abruptly, in a way that's like, wait, I need more. Like, no. That is not the way it goes down. You gotta give me something a little bit more. I just wish that even if that is gonna be the ending, that he would have laid it out differently. There would have been more lead up to it. There would have been more from Corby around it. It was just heartbreaking that it, I've used that term so much, and you're like, why do I want to read a book that's heartbreaking? Because it'll put you in touch with your own humanity, honestly. It will soften you. And those are good things. We need softer, kinder people in the world, right? Not saying that you're not soft and kind, but we can always use more of it. But that ending is hard. That ending was, the whole book is hard, but I definitely wanted more from the ending. It will punch you in the gut. Anyway, I loved it. I hope that you love it too, if you choose to read it. And if you have read it, I really want to hear your experience of it. That's why I make these videos, because I want to have a dialogue and a connection with women around the world who, like me, are still in love with books in their 40s, love storytelling. Maybe you're a writer yourself, like I am. You love words. You love stories. You understand the profoundness of what words and stories bring to us. So thank you for watching. Lots of love to you. Until next time.